Hey guys, this is DeAndre Koch here. What I wanted to do today is I wanted to put together a step-by-step breakdown on how you can very easily go from 0 to 300,000 points in a 12-month period. And actually, you could very easily break 300,000. You could take this to 500,000, 600,000, even more. But very, very easily going to break down how to get from 0 to 300,000. And no, it does not take you having to spend $300,000 in a 12-month period by any means. Now, here's the thing. You got to know a few different things here. And if you've never consumed any of our content before, or listened to our podcast or anything like that, I highly encourage you to do so because you're going to get a wealth of knowledge from this. But you're going to need to know a few different things before you want to embark on this strategy. A, you need to be spending at least $2,000 a month on expenses that are able to be put on a debit card or credit card, right? So not your mortgage, not your car payment. It has to be things that you actually could swipe a debit card for, which means you could swipe a credit card for. Only $2,000 a month. $3,000 would be better, but $2,000 is all you need. The second is you need to have at least a 650 credit score or better. And then the third is that you haven't opened more than 4 credit cards in the last 24 months. That's going to play into Chase's 524 rule. And I'm not going to spend too much time getting into that right now because we talk about it a lot in our podcast and other content. But if you have done more than 4, well, then we're going to have to wait until it's been 24 months since the latest card has been applied for. And the last and most important thing here, guys, I talk about this on my podcast. I am a financial advisor by trade. This is just a hobby of mine that I really love doing and helping educate people on how they can travel in luxury and such. You want to be able to manage your expenses and your debt. And have control of that. If you are in debt up to your eyeballs, I would not encourage you to even think about this strategy. Work on getting that straightened out first. But if you're really good with your cash flow, again, you pretty easily spend $2,000 or more a month just by swiping your card, Amazon purchases, whatever it may be. And this is absolutely the strategy for you. And again, this is 12 months to get 300,000 points or more. Now, a lot of people could probably do this a lot faster. I am just doing a very reasonable pace. Now, again, a lot of people could probably do this in 6 months or less, but I really just want to take this as a very easy pace so that no one feels super overwhelmed. So let's get into it. And the first thing is that you have to understand is we're going to do this by hitting sign up bonuses initially with cards. And so what a sign up bonus is basically when you get a card and you meet the spending requirements on that card, you are able to get a bonus for it. So we have here the Chase Sapphire Preferred or Reserve. For the sake of this conversation, I'm only going to recommend the Preferred. Now, you see here right now, there's an elevated offer going on. I highly encourage you guys to take advantage of this. If you don't have either of these cards, if you already have one of these cards, you can't get the sign-up bonus for the other. So that's a little bit of a moot point. But if you don't have either of these cards, I'd recommend one of them. Now, you might be scared by the annual fee here. I'm not going to get into the benefits of why, but this is actually one of my favorite cards here. And this annual fee is more than made up for in the value that you get. One of the points alone is you get $300 back per year automatically in travel credits, hotel stays, Lyft rides, Uber, airplane tickets. So that knocks us down to $250 minimum. But we're not going to go into the pros and cons of why this is such a great card. But you'll just see here with this card, both of these cards, you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months of opening this card. You get 60,000 bonus points normally. Right now, 75,000. For the purpose of this conversation, because you might be catching this after this limited time offer goes away, let's just say you're only getting 60,000. Okay, so 60,000 bonus points just for getting this card here. And so, again, I said you should be spending $2,000 or more in on average per month that can be put on cards, right? So if you're spending $2,000 per month, in the first 3 months, you would have well exceeded this $4,000 spending target. So in 2 months, you would have 60,000, or in this case, 75,000 Chase bonus points that you have access to, right? We're going to do a different video that talks about how to use these points, but for this sake, we are now at 60,000. But remember, you spent $4,000. So minimally, you would have 64,000. Now, both of these cards actually offer bonuses when you spend on things like dining, right? So if you were to be dining out with these cards, you would get 3x points for both of these cards. So if you spend all $4,000 on just meals and dining, you actually would have 3 times 4,000, so you'd have 12,000. So bare minimum, you're going to get 1 point per dollar spent. And so that would be 4,000 points. Again, very likely you would have a lot more than 4,000, but we're going to say for the sake of this, you have 64, right? So 2 months have gone by, and let's just say you wait 3, but 2 months have gone by, and you're saying, okay, what next? Well, the next card you're going to want to go to is the Amazon Business Gold. And again, Amazon Business Gold also right now has a bonus here that it's showing. Now, Amazon's really interesting because right now, if I had pulled this up on a different browser, it would say, hey, you have access to 60,000 membership rewards points by signing up for this. Right now, I'm playing in incognito mode. It's showing me 90K. So for you yourself, as you're doing this, take advantage. Try to find the elevated offer. Use your phone browser. Use incognito mode. Use Safari. Use Chrome. You won't know what you're going to get. It's almost like the Forrest Gump. Life's like a box of chocolates. When you open the link, you'll see what you get. Now, we'll provide links to all of these cards, obviously, in our video description. And if you choose to follow this path, I'd kindly ask that you consider supporting the channel by using the links that we provide, because that helps us continue to support the channel as well. So with that being said, you go ahead and with this card, it's 6,000 on purchases in the first 6 months. So our goal is to do this in a year, I said, right? So 12 months. So I'm still going to stick with the $2,000 per month rule. So if you're spending that, you should hit this in a 3-month period. So $6,000 spent in 3 months, you would get minimally 60,000 membership rewards points through Amex. And with that, you would have spent $6,000, right? So you'd have 66,000 points at minimum. Now, again, this card has amazing benefits. And this is one of the better daily cards to use because you're going to get 4x points on groceries, 4x points on restaurants. And so don't worry about the 3x points on flights. I usually don't recommend that you book your flights through Amex Travel. So let's say you're a family of 4 and you spend $1,000 a month on groceries. Well, then you're going to get 4,000 Amex points per month just on your grocery spend alone. But I'm going to use all minimums for this, right? So again, 66,000 points is what you would have at the end of the 3 months. As long as you're spending $2,000 per month, you have this. Now, one thing I want to point out, this card does have an annual fee of $250. The Chase Sapphire Preferred card has a fee of $95. So minimally, you're looking right now, you have about $350 in credit card fees. Now, trust me, they're going to be well worth it. I'm not going to take the time to explain in this video how these fees are going to make sense, but trust me, when I show you how you can turn 300,000 points into $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 of luxury travel, you're not going to be worried about the couple $100 you're spending in credit card fees. But that's for a later video. You're going to have to check that one out. So with this one here, right, we've done this for 3 months. We hit the bonus and you're like, okay, what's next? Well, next we're going to go to the Chase Business Preferred. And here you're going to earn 1,000 bonus points if you spend 8,000 in the first 3 months. Now, here's the catch. If you do spend more than $2,000, if you're spending 3,000 a month, or actually the technical number is like 2,700, then this would count in the 3 months. If you're not spending that much, the key with this strategy is I don't want you spending more than you typically would on day-to-day purchases. I want to be very, very clear about that. We don't want to spend an exorbitant amount and go into debt to do this. This should be about using your card for daily expenses and things that you would typically be buying anyway. So if you don't do that, that's not a problem. There is this card instead, which is you spend 6,000 on purchases in the first 3 months, then you're going to get $750 bonus cash back. Now, wait, you're seeing very clearly, this says bonus cash back, not bonus points. Yes, but here's a secret with Chase. If you have a cashback card with Chase, you can link it to one of their rewards points cards, and you can turn that cashback into rewards points. So basically, this card here is the equivalent of 75,000 bonus points. But you have to have either their business preferred or their Sapphire preferred or reserve cards in order to unlock that ability. So again, whether you spend 6,000 or in the first 3 months or 8,000 in the first 3 months, one of these two cards are going to be ideal. Now, a little bit of a bonus to this card here, the business card, is that it's a $95 annual fee, and this one is actually free. Now, you're probably thinking, but I don't own a business. Why would I apply for this card? Well, it's actually a very well-known fact that you don't actually have to own a business in the sense that most people think about when it comes to having a business card. You could be an Uber driver. You can be a content creator. You could sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Amazon, Etsy. You don't have to have a business LLC and federal EIN number. You actually can apply for a business card using your social. And then you also can use that for personal expenses. A lot of people that start businesses, they use their personal card for business expenses. Well, on the flip side, you can actually use your business card for personal expenses. Now, I'm not an accountant, I'm not going to get into what can be written off or all those different things, but that's actually a very well-known fact. And so a lot of people that have the business cards, though they don't have a huge for-profit business, they might, again, sell a couple things on Facebook Marketplace every once in a while, and they just say, hey, my card is for use when I have my business. But they still use it for their groceries and everything else. Very, very, very commonly used. And there's plenty of videos, plenty of content out there. Again, I'm not going to go into all the details, but if you're saying, hey, I don't have a business, I don't have an LLC, I don't have an EIN, I can't get this card, that's actually a very, very, very common misconception. So again, we should be about, at this point, 9 months in, right? So first 3 months, we had one of these cards. Next 3 months, we use this card. And then next 3 months, we had one of these two cards. Well, the very last card is going to be the Amex Platinum. And with the Amex Platinum, here, we're going to see what offer that we get because, again, the same thing can happen. Now, you see here, 80,000 points is the norm. And my calculation for this whole episode is based on 80,000 points. But you see here, it's telling me if I apply right now using this, I'm going to get 125,000 membership rewards points. So you're seeing this firsthand. This said 80,000 when I had it before. Now it's saying 125,000 when I refreshed it. So you never know what you're going to get. But for the sake of this video, again, I'm only going based off of this 80K. Now, this is another higher spend card. This is 8,000 in the first 6 months of membership in order to do that. Now, to be clear, if at the 80,000 point number, it is 6,000 in 6 months. So that does still get us back to the 2K per month spend either way. This card is an amazing card, and I'm not going to spend too much time talking about all the pros and cons of why this card makes sense. But when we scroll down, you're going to see why it can make sense. So $700 fee, you get $200 in hotel credits each year. If you got Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, you're going to get $240 each year in credits for that. Credits for Walmart Plus, lounge access in lounges all over the world. So imagine it's yourself and you like to get a cocktail in the airport. You can basically drink for almost free in almost any airport, especially international airports, and that's typically going to save you $10 to $15 per drink alone there. And then what I really love, the Uber, $200 to Uber Cash, $200 to an airline fee credit. So again, there's a lot of reasons why people could say, oh man, I don't want to deal with a fee of $700. But if you just use the card, you're going to get that value back in so many different ways. So across the board, after a full 12 months, we should have all 4 of these cards. And of course, we've hit the spend across the board, right? So we did the 6,000 for this one, or up to 8,000. We did the requirements for all these various cards. And so we should be sitting on about 300 to 325,000 points between Chase and Amex. Now, that's a decent amount of points, and that was just you spending your typical $2,000 a month to cover bills and to cover expenses that you can typically put on a credit card. And there's ways to amplify this greatly. One of the biggest ways is through what's called two-player mode. With two-player mode, you actually have the ability to have your significant other, your best friend, your travel partner, whoever that may be, if they are not part of the $2,000 a month expenses and they have their own expenses, or let's say you're a family and your typical monthly expenses are $4,000 and you can do $2,000 for you and $2,000 for them, then you could basically do this at the same time. So you can go ahead and say, I'm going to refer you to my Chase Sapphire card. So I've got the preferred. I want you to get the preferred. I'm going to get 10,000 bonus points just by you getting it. But now you can go ahead and do the same thing. And now we have double the points here. And you could literally go down the line of every single card. Or if you don't want to do it at the same time, you can go ahead and wait till you do all of yours and then refer them so that they can get all of theirs. And now you've doubled up. Now, of course, that's going to take more than 12 months, more than likely to do that. But that's a very easy way you can do that as well. So when you break that down, that's a very easy way to not just have 300,000 points, but double that and get to closer to 750 with all the referral bonuses that you would get. Now, the other piece that's really huge is specifically if you do have the Amex card that we talked about here, you could use sites like Rakuten, where you have the ability to multiply your shopping, your points that you get from shopping. And so what you see here is different stores and what they're currently offering in cash back. And think of the percentage sign as an X, meaning if it says 4%, think of that as 4X. So let's just say you are wanting to send flowers to your grandma, and it's $100 that you're paying to send flowers to grandma. And you look on here and you say, I want to send flowers. And Florist pops up, florist.com. Well, Florist right now is 24% cash back. So what you're going to do is you're going to do $100 times 24. That's 2,400. Just by you doing your typical $100 flowers to grandma that you'd want to send, you just got 2,400 Amex points by doing that. So it's really easy to quickly rack up points if you know how to do so. So I'm not going to break down all the different ways, all the different portals that exist for all the cards, but really, really easy to get from 300,000 points and beyond. Now, you might be saying, okay, well, I have all these points. How do I spend them? Well, we're going to have a video for that, and that's going to be linked as well. But the follow-up also is, all right, I've had all these points. What do I do with these cards? I now have roughly $1,100 in credit card fees annually. Well, there's a few different things that you can do. Some of these cards you're likely going to want to keep for the long haul. So I would say if you're using them and using them strategically, the points really, the annual fee really shouldn't be that big of a deal because you should be getting thousands of dollars in value, especially when you redeem it for first class, business class, lie flat seats, luxury hotels, all those different things. But if it is really a huge concern, after you've hit the sign-up bonus, wait a year. So wait a full year. So there's a few different ways that you can go about doing this. One is you can have a process where every few months you open up a new card, you get the sign-up bonus, you use it, and then after a year, you strategically figure out how to move on from that card. Other people like to just stick with a couple and then just really work to build up points on those cards, and so on and so forth. You have to figure out what's going to be right for you. And again, not going to get into all of that in this video, but I encourage you to follow our podcast because we interview people from all walks of life, all different professions, everything from the stay-at-home moms to the working class to the content creators and everyone in between who do these strategies, and it's basically clockwork for them now. They went from never traveling to now traveling multiple times a year, never leaving the country to going to Japan in business class and going to Thailand and Bali in business class, learning that they can take their kid to Disney World in Tokyo for cheaper than they can in the United States. So I encourage you to follow and listen to our podcast where we talk through these different strategies. But here's a really easy way to get to 300,000 points or more. And very easily, if you have player 2, you can turn that into 500, 600, 700, and even push into 1,000,000 points. And that's very clearly, without spending $1,000,000. So check the link in the descriptions below, and that's going to have our best card offers as well as these cards that we've referenced. And check out our next video that's going to also talk about how to actually use these points to find luxury travel.